All right, so pictured right here is my brokerage account for February of 2021. And as you can see down here in the bottom corner, I'm up $11,549 in profit on the month. I didn't trade the first week. I started this small account challenge with $2,000 right here on the 8th and began trading on the 9th and ended up with 10 green days and 3 red days for a total profit of 11,500. Now, if I do the math here, starting this small account challenge, if I make 11,500 for 12 months, that's going to be 138,000 a year. Obviously, I only started with $2,000 at the beginning of this month, and I'm starting out tomorrow morning, March 1st, with $13,200. You can see that right here. That's my current account balance. So hopefully we can get this number up quite a bit, but we'll see about that in 9 more months. So I'll do a year recap at the end of 2021. So stay tuned. But breaking down the first month, I did really well the first 2 weeks. And then this last week, I kind of relapsed a little bit. I wasn't as selective. I didn't follow all my rules as well. And for that, the first 2 weeks I made about, I think 4,000 the first week, and then about 6,000 the second week. And then I only made 1,000 or so this last week. So even though my account was bigger, I didn't make as much money because I didn't follow my rules. There was plenty of opportunity out there. So with that being said, I did have one big losing day last Thursday, and I want to go right into that and show you what kind of happened. So you can see what I'm going to try not to do moving forward. So right here is traderview.com. I'll make myself smaller here so we can see this a little bit better. So traderview.com is a website where you can import trades from almost any broker, and it is a good way to see your stats. So here's my equity curve, and you can see how Thursday I had this huge drawdown from 15,000 in profits to 10,500. And I'm going to go right into that trade. So here's the calendar. Here's February. Here's my minus $4,300, and it was on CDXC. So this is what not to do. Now, I was shorting this stock. I actually make recently in this month, I've made the majority of my profits from shorting. So shorting is selling shares you don't own, buying them back at a lower price, and you profit on the difference. So what went wrong with this stock was that I shorted it without a good entry. I was just shorting it based on the fact it was extended. So it had moved up so much that I shorted it, but it kept going up. I didn't have a good entry. There was no indication of it turning around when I did short it. So that was my problem here. As this came up on the day here at about 11:30, I took a short position right here, 11:45 or so a.m. Eastern time. And instead of stopping out as it kept going up, I added to my position. So the first thing was taking a trade without an entry. The second mistake was not stopping out, and the third mistake was, instead of stopping out, adding to my position to get a better price. So right here I used about 25% of my account. Right here I added the rest of my account, and way up here at $18 I bought it back for a big loss, $2,500. Well, it consequently came all the way back down to my price here after I had stopped out. Then I shorted it again because it looked like it was going to continue lower here at VWAP, only for it to turn around, bounce off the VWAP, and I stopped out again for yet again another big loss of $1,000 for a $3,500 loss. So I'm focusing on what I'm doing wrong here, not necessarily on what I'm doing right, because I'm happy with what I've been doing right, and I want to adjust my mindset so I don't do the things that I've been doing wrong. So this is the biggest thing that I can take away from last week, is to be more patient, I have the list here, so let's go over it. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait until a move is beginning to happen. I'm not going to get in anticipation of moves with as large size as I have in the last week. Maybe 25% of my account, but if it keeps going in the other direction or if it goes in the wrong direction, I'll stop out instead of adding to my position. So I'm going to wait for confirmation, wait for a move to start to happen before I get in. And along the same lines, I'm going to be more selective. I got a little relaxed about my entries and which stocks I was trading. So, quality over quantity. Trade less, trade the best, leave the rest, and I'll be good. I've noticed if I come up here and look at Trading View again, Trader View, let me pull up the calendar. So, here's the reports. Here's the calendar, February, and it shows me, let me clear this really fast. Clear. So, it shows me how many trades I made each day and what my profit was. You notice here on my biggest days, only 6 trades, I made almost 4,000. Only 5 trades, I made 3,500. And on some of the days where I took the most trades is when I lost the most or didn't make that much. So trade the best, leave the rest, and I'll be good. A few other things I'm going to focus on this week are holding winners longer, especially short positions. Oftentimes, stocks that I do short and then take profit on after a little while end up making much bigger moves to the downside throughout the day. So I'm going to try and capitalize on those moves by potentially setting a stop loss order so that I'll stop out at a certain amount of profit if it does start coming back up towards my price. But other than that, I'll just let it run and then come back near the end of the day and cover my position for whatever increased profit I have for letting it run longer. And along the same lines, one of the things I focus on the most always in my trading is I'm always going to set stops. When I take a trade, I'm always going to set a stop for where I'm going to get out if it doesn't move in my direction. And not only am I going to set those stops, but I'm going to execute them. I'm going to make it happen if it gets to that price. Sometimes it will go ripping through my stop out price, and because I do almost all my stops manually, I don't get out of the position, and then I start thinking, well, it's moved so far against me, I'll just wait and see what happens. And usually that does not end up well for me. It usually gets worse and worse and worse until I end up having a huge loss. So instead of doing that, I am always going to stop out. Always, always. Okay? I can always get back in. So with that, that's about it for my first month, up 11,500. I had about $500 in expenses, but 230 of that was already taken out of my 11,500. So up 11,200 after expenses, which is really good. And I'll be back at it tomorrow morning. I'm going to try and get up earlier. There's been a lot of really good pre-market action, so I'm going to be watching the market 3 a.m. every morning Alaska time. I won't go live until probably 9:15 a.m., but I'll be watching 3 a.m. Alaska time, which is 7 a.m. Eastern time. So 2.5 hours before the bell rings every morning, I'll be looking for good opportunities, good stocks to trade, and going from there. So I'll look forward to seeing you in the live stream. Live streams have been going great. The first week I had an average of 10 people constantly in with the joining me in the live stream, and that was really awesome. Had lots of participation, and we'll be back at it tomorrow morning. So have a good night.